Hello everybody, this is Martin here, playing Ad Nauseam Tendrils again. Again playing the list, you'll find it beneath the video. No Ad Nauseam in the main, 2 Pass and Flames, and Empty the Warrens in the main though. So here I'm up against Death and Taxes. Again, I don't know, this is a recorded match. I didn't know when I was playing, so it was a blind opponent, but I played against Death and Taxes a bunch. I think it's a fine matchup. It's by no means like a cakewalk, but it's easily a matchup you can end up losing. But all in all, they need to get to their second turn to really meaningfully interact with you, other than like a turn 1 wasteland. But that shouldn't be able to completely put you off. But just be aware that like hands that look good with like 2 or 3 cantrips and not really a lot of business can actually just be really bad and not get you where you need to go. So anyway, let's see here. So I won the die roll. I'm up against a blind opponent. Most definitely want to play first. So here we go. And this is a bit of a risky keep. Like, I'm one I'm a dark ritual away from just like turn 1 empty. And yeah, I don't know. I mean, I have a proclivity. I have a tendency to keep hands like this. I must admit, like this in retrospect, this is probably too risky. But let's see here. I'm definitely gonna probe. See Death and Taxes. Yeah, I'll like play around the wasteland. He's not like he shouldn't be able to get to turn 2. That's like my objective here. Let's see. So I get a land. I guess that's not too bad, because I do get to tutor for Empty the Warrens. And yeah, make a bunch of goblins, and I don't really think he has any way to deal with that. So that's why, like, I know a lot of people like prefer Ad Nauseam over Empty the Warrens, and I think the 2 cards they aren't necessarily just interchangeable, and you can't really just say like I like what one of them does, and like which one do I like the most, and then just pick it, because I guess, I mean, that is what you're gonna do. But if you take my meaning, like Empty the Warrens basically shaves a mana. Like, so you see here, how I'm able to go off at 4 mana and not 5. And if I had Ad Nauseam instead of Empty the Warrens here, I would have been forced to just sort of pass the turn, see what happened. My Duress is kind of dead because I can't take his Thalia. And I mean, I could still probably, well, there's a chance I could draw something really good, like a ritual or something on my draw step in the following turn. Then Ad Nauseam is a-okay. But it's like, I just really like the explosive qualities of Empty the Warrens. Like a lot of decks aren't going to be able to deal with this, and in effect, it's going to be as much of a, like, it's going to kill as often probably as Ad Nauseam, because like the times that you fizzle on Ad Nauseam, that's not trivial. And so also the amount of times that 12 goblins won't get you there on turn 1 or 2, I mean, that's not trivial. It will happen, but like the positives outweigh the negatives. So my opponent concedes because, yeah, that's it. Against Death and Taxes, you kind of want to watch out for their Stoneforge Mystics with your Empty the Warrens plan, but like that's usually only really a problem if they're on the play, and it can be mitigated if you have access to Cabal Therapy. So against Death and Taxes, I remove all my 3 Duresses. I remove 1 Past and Flames. I want to bring in 2 Massacre. I want to bring in 2 Abrupt Decay. I probably also want to bring in my singleton Chain of Vapor. But I actually think I only end up shaving 4 cards for the 2 Abrupt Decay and the it might be 1 Abrupt Decay and 1 Chain of Vapor. So let's have a look at the second game. Spoiler alert, there isn't a third game. So on the draw, let's see, I get this hand. It's absolutely keepable. Basically, if you see, like with Death and Taxes, they aren't going to be able, I mean, barring some, you know, wild maniac out there running Mindbreak Trap, which, you know, that could happen, but they aren't going to be able to do anything on their first turn that's relevant for you. So for me to be able to both probe and potentially brainstorm with already having like an LED and an Infernal Tutor, I basically just, I mean, it's, you know, quotation marks, need to hit a black mana source and a dark ritual, or like probe into a Lotus Petal or something, and well, I guess I need to be more than that. But this is like, this hand I think is a fine keep. And let's see, my opponent, Flagstones, Mother of Runes, so I won't be able to Massacre until he gets his planes out. Okay, so that's good. Underground Sea, we probe, and we're going to be looking at Thalia on the following turn. Mother Runes makes it so our Abrupt Decay is kind of useless. Wasteland is also Factor and Revoker. Yeah, it's just going to be more like annoying. He's going to name LED most likely, but you know, being a lucky man, I of course probe into my Dark Ritual, and avoiding the temptation to actually brainstorm in search of like a Lotus Petal. Because I've actually done that before and gotten severely punished because, you know, that's just, it's nonsensical. His hand is never ever beating what is it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, he's never beating 10 goblins unless he draws into like I suppose if you drew into Stoneforge Mystic now, or if you drew into like Ratchet Bomb or something, possibly, but I definitely just need to do this. The odds are, I think, staggeringly in my favor. 10 goblins. He keeps playing. Actually, I think he misplays here. Maybe he's a bit on tilt. Just loses his 1 Flagstone without paying mana for it. That actually I think ends up being quite costly. I draw whatever, swing in. Mom takes down 1. Yeah, actually, forget my hybris over the not beating the 10 goblins. I actually think him messing up with his Flagstones from before ends up costing him, because this ends up being quite tight, as I recall. Yeah, I'm locked out of really casting many. I could cast a Probe, but what's the point really? Thalia is a beating. So in again we go. I connect for 7. He goes down to 4. And so he's able to play like 2 threats here and block. Well, he wasn't, but if he had been, he could have had an extra threat and played it, and actually, like, that would have been 1 less on the first, 1 less goblin the turn before. Like, it definitely mattered. Yeah, but I swing in, go for the win, and that's it. Alright, well, I think yeah, like I started out by saying, this matchup is very decent because they don't really have meaningful interaction until their second turn. But we're not a glass cannony all in turn one deck anyway, so there is going to be like a decent amount of time where you won't have the means to just win on turn one, which if you're on the draw, that you know your turn one, if you don't win there, then they get their turn two and they drop Thalia and you're up shit's creek. So like I think some people might be biased and in their perception here and think that Storm is like overwhelmingly the favorite. I don't think it is. I've also played Death and Taxes, and I don't mind facing Storm at all. Yeah, Storm can win on turns 1 and 2, and sometimes that happens. But if you get into just your second or third turn, then things start to look like a lot better. Alright, well, thanks for watching.